Welcome back, parents. At this point, hopefully you have watched the first 6 or so videos about talking, reading, toys, travels, other topics to help you develop your child's potential. You can see that you play a vital role in the race of life. Let's add a couple of more strategies that could support your efforts. This short video is about developing your child's thinking. Toys and play are certainly crucial for this, but in addition to toys, there are other actions you can take to further expand your child's thinking. Let's take a look at a few. As discussed in the earlier videos, reading, playing, talking, and traveling develop your child's brain. But today, we're going to add some simple strategies, questions, games, and choices, because they help grow their brain too. Asking good questions make children think. Of course, you want to ask about their day or their drawings or their activities, but there are ways to expand thinking with additional questions. Always ask questions while you're reading a book together. Make the question open-ended, like, how do you know the character feels such and such? Or why do you think the character did such and such? Reading books is a great place to get kids thinking. An often overlooked place to ask questions is at the dinner table. This is a great time as a family to ask questions that require thinking. For example, what if you won $1 million? What would you do with it? Or, hey, if you had a superhero ability, what would it be and why? Or, who would you love to meet and why would you choose them? There is an endless list of possibilities, and many books have been written to start conversation. Just be sure that is targeted toward children, or you'll have to go through it and choose questions that fit family life. Another line of questioning can be to solve family dilemmas, like, how should we divide up chores to make family life better for everyone? Or, what should our family do about such and such? Getting children to think is mind expanding and necessary for problem solving. Another important and fun strategy for growing your child's brain is to play games. The obvious games are sold in stores, in the toy department, and these work. Board games that make you think or strategize are good choices, but be sure to look for the ages that the game is targeting. Card games are fun too, like War, which is high card wins, or Fish, learning how to match cards, or Concentration, which is a memory game, or Solitaire that teaches numerical order. All of these games can be found online if you don't already remember them from your childhood, parents. Some of my favorite games are adaptations of other games. We played these games whenever we were stuck waiting somewhere, like in a restaurant or in a trip in the car. One game we modified was called Categories. In our game, someone would select a topic, like maybe animals or sports or cereals, colors, whatever, and then we'd go around the table with everyone naming a different animal until someone repeated an answer. Well, that person would get a point for not paying close attention. The person with the fewest points would win. This game gives parents the opportunity to name things that their children don't know, expanding their vocabulary and also requiring them to focus on the answers being given. Another game we modified is 20 questions. Someone thought of a famous person, place, or thing, and everyone else had to ask a yes/no question. This is a great game of logic. For example, if I chose an animal like tiger, and someone asked me, does it live in the ocean? I would have to say no. Well, that answer eliminates any animal that lives in the ocean, so dolphin would not be a good guess. Don't let your children just name animals like, is it a this, it is a that, but show them ask good questions that lead to the correct answer. For example, does the animal have 4 legs? I'd say yes. Does the animal have fur? I would say yes. Is it small? I would say no. This forces your child to think about all the clues in their questions that will help them figure out what is the correct answer. One more thinking game is the high-low number game. To play this, you think of a number between 1 and another number, like maybe if your child's young, you would use 1 through 10. If they're older, you might use 1 through 100 or 1,000. The object is to guess my number. If my number is 56, the players might ask, well, is it 75? And I would have to say, lower. And then the next person might say, well, is it 50? And I would have to say, higher. And they would keep going back and forth until they narrowed down my number of 56. Because their questions is giving boundaries like 50 to 75 and closer, closer, closer until they actually know the number. These thinking games are always with you because they're mind games. Children can always be challenged to think no matter where you are. Playing games is a great way to have fun and grow young and old minds. Parents may not realize it, but every time you ask your child to choose something, that requires thinking. For example, when you ask, which cereal would you like for breakfast? This is the highest level of thinking called evaluation. Your child has to think about previous experiences, what are the choices available, what might be other options, how hungry are they, and on and on. It happens rapidly in their brain. Cereal choices are not big, but they certainly build a child's thinking for the future when their choices get more complicated and more dangerous. Easy choices to begin the evaluation process could be limited to, like, what kind of clothes do you think would be appropriate for the event? Or maybe something like, what should we name the family pet? Or what ride should we ride first at the park? What could we order at the restaurant? If you have $1, what are you going to buy at the grocery store? Or what would you like to put on your birthday choice list? Look for opportunities for your child to think. It is important to follow up choices with the ever-present question of why? Why did you make that choice? Get your child to give reasons for their choices. We've already discussed in earlier videos creating, pretending, and exploring in the toys video, but we have not discussed problem solving and science and math activities beyond toys. Let's consider these. Well, you could buy science math kits or go online for activity suggestions. You can ask your child to solve problems that you create, or you could ask their opinion in solving one of your problems. An example might be something as simple as, well, how tall do you think you can make your tower of blocks? That requires some thinking and trial and error. Or how far can you roll that car down the driveway without pushing it? Well, now, how could you speed it up? What could you do? Or what could you do with this piece of cloth? You know, parents, these help them think and have to solve the little challenge that you've given them. You might ask your child to help you solve a problem, like when you're cooking. Do we have the right ingredients to make this pie? Or, I only have $20 for dinner out. Where could we buy dinner with this money? Or if it's a toddler, you might say to them, what does your toy bunny think about such and such? How could you use this toy in a different way? Making something bigger, better, or different gets kids thinking about the world around them. Evaluation requires thinking. Problem solving is more important than ever in this century. Our children need to be confident problem solvers, and this starts when they are small. Parents, we hope you'll check out the next video called Training, or as parents like to call it, Discipline.